everybody, welcome to the Reviewer Roundtable for TFcon Toronto 2017. We've done this a couple of years in a row and we're doing it again. My name is Chris, my internet name is Vangelus, my website is vangelus.ca. I'm the Vangelus Review on YouTube. You can call me any of those things. I'm joined by Ian from hardreturn.net. Ian, hello.
I'm Ian from hardreturn.net. Thank you. I take some photographs for myself, and I also do some photography work for Ocular Max and Mastermind Creations, and I like pictures.
I do too.
Nice.
I like your pictures.
Nice.
Thank you.
So do I.
Spence likes pictures.
I like pictures.
It's Spence.
It's Spence. Hi. Yeah, I'm Spence. I was used to work with ages 3 and up for a long time. We did the A3U review originally from the very beginning, and I left. I went to Hong Kong for a while and started working closer with third-party products and people and whatnot, and I just visit now.
I remember you.
Yeah, nobody knows me here. I'm Boris from the A3U review.
Hey, aren't you that Alex guy's partner?
Yeah, I'm that Alex
Where,
guy's partner.
if only Alex could be here for once. Did you not? Oh.
I know. That guy, he never shows up anywhere. Yeah, I took over the A3U review and, made it complete garbage ever since Spence left. No. Alex and I have a lot of fun. We've had Chris on the show before too.
Super fun.
So yeah, we're all very familiar.
I'm familiar with you, Eric.
Hey, yeah, I'm Eric from Haus Toys. I sell toys.
Whoa.
I know. Pretty serious.
That was
really
deep.
serious.
You mean someone sells these things?
Surprisingly,
That's awesome.
yes.
You over there, I recognize from YouTube.
I don't know why, I'm not very famous, but my name is Henry. I go by Paik4Life online. I do some stuff for Mastermind Creations, Ocular Max, their official video manuals, but I also do some video reviews for Toy Dojo and others. I'm also a junkie of Eric's on frequent occasions, so happy to be here again. I think this is our second year.
Something like that, yeah. I'm glad to have you here because, I've said it out loud. I'm going to rip off your live stream idea. So, I wanted to just
Sweet.
say it to your face. But we're going to review some products, and then I'm going to rip off his live stream idea. So let's head on over to the first product. I think I hear it somewhere around here. First thing we're going to take a look at is a fresh photo book of G1 Toys. This thing is a Kickstarter project by a group called
Ocular Echo.
Thank you, Ian.
No problem.
And this is like I guess a spiral bound
No, this is just
This
pure
is just
prototype.
a test.
Yeah.
Pure prototype. I don't
Yeah,
think
yeah,
it's
like
gonna be
first copy,
spiral.
like
yeah.
yeah.
It's still being produced, from my understanding. They're still working on just fixing up some of the pictures. Still a lot of color plates going. I don't know if it's going to be hardcover or a soft cover. I guess it would depend on.
I thought he had said something about a hardcover.
Really?
When I had talked to him at one point, I believe he said there's supposed to be a hardcover version, which is awesome in my opinion.
Nice coffee table book.
It would do this justice just by looking at some of the photos I've already seen in it.
Yeah, the photos are fantastic. And who knows, with a Kickstarter, they might offer multiple tiers or something.
Different
like that.
versions,
Yeah,
do
yeah.
hardcover, softcover.
And the other thing
Printed on toilet paper.
The other thing to know, and I'm not sure, I'm not sure how much this is going to come across on the camera, but this isn't the print quality that they're going for. This is literally just
to check out layout, check out size, check out how it looks on the table in front of you.
So is this basically just a G1 Bible? It says U.S. release series 4 on this page. Where does it cover from the Transformers history?
I think he's planning 2 books. So book 1 is supposed to be the actual figures themselves, like all the G1 stuff right through to the end of Action Masters and whatnot.
Yeah,
so the entire G1 line. Book 2 is going to dive deeper into things like Diaclone, Microman, G2, and a little bit further, I believe.
Okay.
So
this book 1 is core G1
book 1 is
stuff,
core, yeah.
And the second book will be kind of more
Cool
cringy,
stuff.
Cool
yeah,
stuff.
Yeah, cool stuff. All the cool stuff.
This book is showing some stuff beyond name, accessories, etc. It's also throwing down a rarity rating, a loose condition, a mint in box condition, average price.
Is supposed to go really in depth into each individual figure. There's been other books out there before, but they are either not showing everything or woefully out of date or what have you. What I find with a lot of the previous books is they only did smaller volumes and then sold 3 or 4 volumes instead of one nice big coffee table book, which as collectors, it would be nice to have an actual collector book to go along with everything, I think.
Well, I'm also big into the photos showing, like, a double cross, right? These white bits aren't yellowed up, so it looks fresh. It's like showing me the finest condition.
Yeah, and try finding even some of these in bad condition
That's what I was
online
amazed about
for images.
being able to source all the toys and figures to actually get.
The book has been in production for a long time. Like
Really?
he's been collecting and photographing and collecting and photographing long time.
Yeah.
So every time
crazy.
he finds something that is maybe not as good, but then he's always sourcing for something better. Something he wants best quality. What you see in the photos is like
Brand new out of package.
brand new. Yeah, absolutely
Or
new
as close
product.
as you can get to it.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, he did open up. I think it was the station, the space station or whatever, the cardboard
The
thing.
cardboard one,
He actually opened up
a brand new
a
one.
brand new one.
Wow.
Just to get the best
Took
quality.
pictures of it.
Yeah.
That's dedication.
So it's like, okay, but yeah, I was like, okay.
For that kind of project, going crowdsourcing seems like a logical route.
Yeah.
So I guess check out the Kickstarter campaign or whatever crowdsourcing route he takes.
In 2 weeks?
In 2 weeks?
Yeah.
Well,
Roughly 2 weeks.
We're going to move on to something else, and it's coming from behind me this way. We're starting off with an officially licensed piece by Flame Toys. This is their Drift, the first entry in their...
Kurokara Curry line.
Thank you, Henry. The thing about this that I find really exciting is that the articulation design is done by the Chemical Attack team, whose work I have been way into on the Sentinel re-edit Iron Man line, most specifically, but elsewhere as well. And that's kind of my big jazz about this thing.
I was really surprised. When I first saw this, I actually thought it was a statue because you can't really point out any points of articulation or pins or anything like that, and it just looks so amazingly well sculpted. It just looks like a statue. But if you go onto their Facebook page, Flame Toys Facebook page, they actually show what they're calling linkage videos that detail out the points of articulation, how things move and clear out the way to make the articulation a lot more enhanced than you would imagine from a figure that looks like this.
Yeah, that's kind of my big draw. Going through those Sentinel re-edit figures, the way that the articulation not only is present, but when you use it, the parts that you're done using kind of get inhaled into the body mass in a, I would say, organic way. It's similar to the way that just human muscle mass works. Seeing that in a toy was a big revelatory moment for me. The Bleeding Edge Iron Man. Check out my review if you want. See how the inner thigh binds onto the crotch when you move the leg outwards. We don't have shame here at the
Oh, sorry.
Roundtable, Spencer.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Speaking of,
Things like that, I think, are really well integrated. So in addition to the points of articulation, they're actually combined with a series of LEDs throughout the figure. So there's some in the head, some in the shoulders here, the Autobot logos, and even some down at the legs, including the chest piece. And all those are kind of activated in interesting ways. For example, the shoulder pieces are actually activated when you pull up on this thruster piece. So that not only engages some articulation where the thrusters in the back of the shoulders come out, but it actually activates the LEDs. So it's all well integrated.
I remember seeing this on Facebook just before TFcon, and there was a lot of hype over this. I started getting inundated with emails to get this figure. So I took a look at it, and I think one video was the one with the foot. I don't know, you could see it moving in all the little kind of, I don't know if it was gears or whatnot.
Interconnected pieces.
Yeah, and it just kind of flowed really smooth. It was kind of exciting to see because, I mean, normally we play with Transformers or anything like that. You don't see that stuff. But just seeing that was kind of exciting. I thought it was pretty spectacular. Definitely a lot of Gundam Mask type stuff. So, yeah.
and Boris, speaking of excitement.
Yeah, I haven't had a chance to play with the Sentinel re-edit line as you have, but I got a chance today to finally play with it. I was very impressed. I noticed a lot of the same things that you spoke about. For this piece here, I'm noticing that kind of those same kind of cues, like it's all in the details at this kind of a scale. I haven't had a full chance to look at it like you guys had earlier, but the details are definitely what strike me. I'm a big Gundam fan as well, so I really do like the fixed configurations and the metal build, so this is very much reminiscent of that.
It's speaking to you in that language.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's worth mentioning that Flame Toys table here at TFcon, like they've got the re-edits, a couple of the newer ones out, so that since this piece can't really just be handled, they've got production pieces from re-edit out there, so you can see firsthand how this stuff works if you haven't messed with that stuff before. Right. Re-edit is not a cheap line; like it's a pricey line, and so it's not uncommon for people to be new to this. But Spencer, you know the value in like hands-on, like to getting to mess with a thing, to understand it.
100%. This is, I love the direction on something like this. I would love to see more of this kind of thing in this kind of line. I love the high-end look of the figure. You see the style. You can totally see the Gundam influences, even the Macross influences, the awesome Japanese robot influences, and all of this. I'd love to see more of this direction from people. Having worked with companies like MAAS Toys, you can see the Japanese influences and how they do, and then Hasbro typically brings us a very North American look in a lot of their figures and how everything looks. This is fabulous, like absolutely fabulous. And then you integrate the joint structure, how the elbows work, how the knees work. Just looking at this without even touching it, I can tell you this is phenomenal. High-end MG, knock it out of the park kind of stuff in a die-cast material. Man, I can't even say how many good things I can say about this.
First thing I notice is I love how you can get a beautiful S-curve just in the way it's standing there. And then you look at all the details that are picked out, like even underneath these kind of these forearm panels, there's actually like a huge amount of detail and multiple colors of paint underneath there. And like everything about it looks like it has been thought about and designed, and I'm excited. Like even the facial expressions, like there's the two mouths, and they both look fantastic. In addition to the neutral one.
You mentioned like the asymmetry.
Yeah, the snarl face that he has, like the attack face. It's like the one it's up, like it's not a symmetrical snarl. It actually looks like it's something that someone who is pissed off is going to be doing.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. It looks fantastic. All the little paint apps. It looks like it's very well built. I want to grab it and pose it right now.
We all want to do that.
I know.
We've been forbidden.
But yeah, it looks fantastic.
Well, what you're talking about with like taking things into account, like we learned, as we were educated how this thing works, the forearm flap there is designed to move out of the way when you rotate the cuff so that it doesn't impede the articulation, and that's kind of what makes this thing have the massive price point it has, which is like that combined with the fact that it's a licensed piece, and thus it doesn't fully convert into a vehicle. That's going to be probably two big roadblocks for a lot of folks. And I've said this about the re-edit Iron Man line. What you're paying for with these chemical attack pieces is articulation that like it's there, but it also works with you. It gets out of the way. It moves into the body. It works in interlinked fashions, and that's the fascinating stuff about this team's particular work. And that's kind of what you're paying for the most part. That and like quality builds and whatnot.
Yeah, I agree. The die cast, all the accessories, you can see that there's 8 sets of hands that come with this figure. 3 total sets of faces that are interchangeable. You see on Chris's side the cape and almost, I guess, the collar or scarf that goes along with him as well. With that, there's just a lot of things that you're getting in this high-end collectible. And a lot of people, as you said, are worried about transforming figures that don't transform. And I think I agree with Spence that there's room in the market for high-end collectibles that are in the vein of Hot Toys and Sentinel that a lot of people are
without
trying to
having to be 18 inches tall.
Yeah.
Yeah, the size helps, and just to kind of cap it off, like for something that cannot physically turn into a vehicle, the number of transforming bits on this guy, like the guard of the sword, transforming a bit when you pull on it, the way that some of the parts move, the way the thrusters come out, it's like there's still life on the body in a way that makes me think Transformers. So this thing's coming out end of 2017.
Yep, and a price point of $320 US.
Yep, and the second entry in the line has been revealed. It's going to be the very first, currently only licensed merchandise of Tarn from More Than Meets the Eye. Still the Chemical Attack team. So the line art.
That'll be a really interesting.
I'm super excited.
Interesting take on that
the line.
character.
The line art looks bases.
Yeah, it's like Tarn on just like a real artistic bent. Like you see the character, but you see this style in it. It's I like it a lot.
Great.
Anyway, hope you enjoyed this look at Flame Toys Drift. We're going to be continuing on with the review roundtable. We're actually going to be continuing on this way. We're here with a table of KFC. It ain't released yet. We're going to talk about it. We're going to start off with this faux octane. Why don't you tell me a little bit?
Actually, all I know is Octane has been in production, I guess, for a very long time. I remember them talking about it for a while, so this is the first time I've seen it. Obviously, it's still in pre-production stage. I haven't handled it very much, but I do know it's fairly heavy.
Looks like it features some die cast in the lower leg, the foot, the thigh, maybe?
Yeah. Both of the knee joints, so the upper knee and the lower knee, look like they are die cast. And then the foot. I guess it makes sense if you have it as a joint. It will not only add the weight, but then give you a little bit of stability in that joint as well. I have to be honest, I'm actually pretty impressed with this. I love the wingspan. It's big.
And the truck mode is probably, I think, the strongest mode. Like it holds together well, it rolls well. It's actually a really nice truck.
Oh, it even rolls, eh?
Yeah.
Do we know his name? His fancy name?
Strato something?
Yeah.
Stratotanker?
Stratotanker.
Stratotanker?
Okay. Well, the stratosphere is in space, so why don't we talk about the Space Boy next?
Nice.
This is
That segue was beautiful.
delicious. This is a Cosmos. He turns into a UFO. He is under X-Transbots, I believe. He's coming with a bevy of cartoonish accessories, and then a thing that lets him catch cows. There's a spot up here, you put the UFO mode, you put a cow inside here, and I don't know what Cosmos gets up to, but apparently he steals cows. And I would, if I were a flying saucer.
Is that from an episode, or
No,
is
I
it
don't
just
think
That's
so.
like from UFO mythology.
like
Yeah.
that's it? Just
Yeah.
Crop circles.
okay.
It's
Fair enough.
It's a circle. All right.
The one thing I know about this is, while he's pretty hefty, he actually has a spring-loaded mechanism for the head. So you open up the chest here, which is really hard to do, but you open that up and there's a little button and his head pops up at the end, which is kind of cool.
That makes me happy because it's the peg, right? That's on top of the UFO mode. You kind of want it to go boink, you know? He's like, I got a cow. Spence, you're digging this cow thing.
I'm digging the cow. Yes.
Yeah, I haven't had a chance to transform it, but I'm really interested. I've always been a big fan of 529 designs, and I think that's the case here with this one. So they always tread the line between just a little bit too complex, so I'm wondering if they're dialing it back to make it a little bit easier for most folks.
The chunk on him gives me that hope as well. The chunk on this dude just makes me say, gimme. Because I like me my horror cons, and this is a horror con alike. There was King Gorilla, now there is King Zilla. This little man over here has teeth all over his body on the front. I kind of like that. I'm assuming this thing's also got the light-up cockpit gimmick that
Yes,
Gorilla
it does.
had. That was a nice touch. And the hands, we were kind of poking around at these earlier on. They got the KFC layout, but they're all just like thicker. They're like extra thick kind of KFC hands.
Juicy hands.
I was really impressed with Kingzilla. I had a chance to transform him a couple times into each of the modes, and I had King Gorilla for a while. It was not nearly as intuitive as this. The robot mode looks really nice, has a much smaller backpack, is much more well balanced, doesn't have that big kind of top heaviness that King Gorilla had. The transformation is much easier, much more intuitive, and I think they're pretty successful. Like this alt mode looks really nice. This jet mode, it has the flame effects that we kind of saw with King Gorilla, as well as a couple of guns as well. So he looks like he's set for some more action.
I'm actually really impressed with this. I wouldn't even consider any need for the third mode, because these two modes are great. Everything about it is great. The landing gear is beautiful. The proportions are great. I've always said about these guys, they do an amazing looking product, without any doubt. I've always liked how their stuff looks.
And as always, with their new line, they actually have working tech specs. So these are not accurate right now, but the head mode does actually work so that when you do head on kind of thing, you get that spec. He's apparently maxed out right now, so.
Well, that pose he's in is excellent.
Yes.
That would max my stats any day. So this dude is, I believe I saw pre-orders starting to go up for this dude somewhere, or at least like press starting for this dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, pre-orders are up for this guy now.
All right. Well, that's our little table at KFC. Finger licking. Let's move on over to some other delicious toys. Way over that way. Whoa! It's Iron Factory time. This stuff all is out now, so we're kind of just gonna glide through. There's really two main ones to talk about here, because Lord Scorpion, this little boy, has been out for a while, but now he's all dark matter, like a Black Zarek. So this is the retool repaint of Lord Scorpion. He's got the Black Zarek head, the spear. I think that gun is new as well. And he's got the gold coloration that makes everyone think of disintegrating toys. This one doesn't disintegrate because it's paint. 21st century. But what are you guys thinking about the two Scorpion dudes here?
I liked the original Scorpion, so I would say that I haven't played around with the Black Zarek version, but I assume it's very similar. Is that right, Chris? Have you had a chance to play around with?
I've messed with the two of them a little bit. I don't own this one. I picked that one up when he came out. And yeah, they both feel more or less the same. It's like a fairly thick Scorponok. To be honest, I'm a bigger fan of Iron Factory's smaller size stuff.
I agree.
Their larger and villain toys often don't quite hit it for me the way that like their Dinobots or their Datsuns do.
Yeah.
But I also know that whenever I say that, like 50 people tell me that they think differently. So
yeah, I mean, bottom line is they are a lot of fun.
Yeah,
I just had a lot more fun with the smaller, simpler guys. They work great on my desktop, and that's how it is.
So what do we have in the middle here then?
Yeah, I'm actually more curious about that guy because I didn't know about this build-a-figure thing until later on in the game of actually.
This is Wing of Tyrant. It's a pretty good name. It's their Starscream. He comes with coronation gear because everyone loves King Starscream. They love to see him die. The thing that they're doing over at Iron Factory is this guy comes with a ghost torso. And the other Seekers they're doing are going to come with the other bits to make a ghost Wing of Tyrant. And that seems to be their way of encouraging the purchase of the rest of the Seekers if you aren't just into having all the Seekers. I haven't messed with Wing of Tyrant myself yet. But have any of you guys had some time with this one?
I had about 30 seconds before we started. I actually like the wings. I mean, I know it sounds like a pretty nitpick. I really like the ones that iGear did in this style, and I really like this style. So, surprisingly, the 30 seconds were quite enjoyable.
It's always cool to see a Seeker that does more than just have the wings chill out.
Yes.
Like, the hinges on here that reshape them a little bit are a nice touch.
I could do without the cape. I can do without the gun.
I got good
the Megatron gun.
Ha! There you go.
No, that's...
And I mean, it was a lot more fun to play around with, I think, than the question I get a lot, obviously, is why this and not the DX9 that came out. I mean, obviously, they're a different design, which I really did like the Raptor design. But I also felt like DX9 were like, they made some really weird transformation choices. I don't know if anyone here has
I've seen how it works.
Yeah.
It's really interesting. Like I can't even tell you which of the two I like more because they are both going for completely different directions. Like this one is a very simple, just like it's your classic Iron Factory, just kind of now use a jet. DX9 does this amazingly odd idea of like, what if the arms like thread through the torso?
Exactly, and I feel like that actually ruined it for me a bit. Only because it was just so weird. It felt like they were trying a little too hard, but it did create some interest for me in actually wanting to transform it. So there it is.
I messed with them again this morning, and the jet mode is actually really nice on these guys. Like, it's very compact, looks very good. Looks good with all three of them together, and then the ghost one is probably my favorite, but then you have to buy the other three to get the ghost one. So
welcome to the Build-A-Figure model, Ian.
Marvel Legends relived.
Yeah.
Well, that's a little look at some Iron Factory stuff. It's the thick pocket size choice, and we're gonna float off into the heavens to our next segment. Hi, we're here with some MAAS Toys, a fresh kid on the block, debuting with their figure Skiff, who is available in yellow, and then he's also got a pal here available in gold. And for TFcon only, he's got a third pal available in monochrome. This is a Cybertronian Bumblebee type. He has two faces. one plated, one not, and he's coming in at this kind of like small, thick, deluxe kind of shape. This is the debut release of MAAS Toys, and if we could speak to someone from MAAS Toys right now, that sure would be cool.
I know. Pick someone's brain.
Would be helpful.
Oh! We have Spencer
Where'd
here.
you come from?
Oh. Yeah.
So I have messed with this very briefly so far. Actually, I messed with one of yours.
Yep.
You got a table set up with like the T1s through like T4s.
Yeah, we thought that we would come to this version of TFcon and allow people to actually experience more of the actual production. So on the table we have a T1, the actual first pull, all the way through to the final product, and you can actually see a considerable difference along the line. The progression of the figure.
Well, this little dude has got a transformation. His video is up for this.
Yes.
For video instructions.
Opted not to do paper instructions. Good for the environment. Everybody hates instructions anyways. They never show you what they do. So we actually went with a professional made, semi-professional made transformation video that shows all the everything that you can do with it.
You guys have all had some time with these, and you know this dude's right here. So Henry, why don't you throw some thoughts down?
I thought it was most interesting that you guys were going with a theme of the Cybertronian forms. I think a lot of people would find that interesting because it's still G1, but it's an area that doesn't get a lot of exposure. So was that intentional, or what inspired you to go with that theme?
First of all, it's Bumblebee, fan favorite. Second of all, it's deluxe, which fits into a lot of collections that Bumblebee has been deluxe for ages. Thirdly, it's the same height as the MP Bumblebee. So you could actually put it in with, say, Spark Toys, which is an MP figure. They scale properly according to masterpiece scales. It's a Cybertronian version of Bumblebee. This has never been done by Hasbro. It's never been done by anybody, not even a third party before. There was one sample. Hasbro was going to do it in the titanium line, and it was ridiculous. There were some couple of people who did small resin, like in the actual like G1 scale, so it was the same height as the G1 Bumblebee, but nothing that's been as extensive as this. So we thought it was a good idea to go ahead with it.
The only thing I really do wish, and I spoke to Spence about, was I wish he had a stand so that you could do the flying.
Do the flying,
articulation.
yeah.
Because he actually has a lot of neat. How many points was it?
28 points of
28
articulation.
Points
Wow,
of
for a
articulation.
figure that small.
For a figure that small.
small. It's actually really, really cool. So yeah, you can get all those action poses.
What is that?
He's doing a dancing move.
That's gotta
dancing.
Hey, Spence, one other question. What is the kind of background to this, what Vangelus is calling monochrome or black and white version for us laymen?
There are several collecting circles who collect the G1 Bumblebee in like all the versions, all the styles, all the colors, all the everything. And even when Takara was doing the book style releases, they did an evil version of Bumblebee that they called Bug Bite, which was white. Pretty easy to make that relation, but I thought something a little more obscure would be interesting. This is actually based off a rare Brazilian version called Volks that was done in a silverish color with the black accent, kind of as a mistake. The Volks was done in orange originally, but the silver was like a second version and had the gold face. So that's sort of where it comes from. Very obscure. Only the really crazy.
So perfect for an exclusive.
Yeah, a little bit perfect for the exclusive, and it's kind of white, so the people who are like, yeah, Bug Bite, yeah, that works too.
Boris, you're in a unique position of sitting right next to Spencer. So
That is unique.
let it loose, man. Just let it loose.
I actually really I didn't at first think that the idea was strong enough. I'm gonna be honest. I was honest with Spencer when I first saw some of the concepts. I thought, well, you know, who really needs this? Because I mean, I think it was one episode. It wasn't something that I identified with a lot. But then I saw the fans' reaction to it, so I thought, okay, maybe it's got some grounds. And then when I actually got the figure to play with, I didn't actually get the original or the gold one. I actually got this one, and I thought it was this prototype kind of thing, right? And I was like, oh, this is actually really great in these colors, and I started playing around with it, and it was just, it was actually really, really amazing. And like Eric mentioned, the amount of posability that I could get with such a small figure. And then I looked at the price point, and I said, you're crazy, dude. That is amazing value for what you're getting. So for me, it's really hard to argue with for the price. However, if I had to nitpick about a couple of things, there's definitely things like I think the pegging of the back. We had talked about that a little bit on the, you know, just how it's not as intuitive as it could have been if it had just some pegging. But really, it's really not a big knock to it. If you can't figure out how to transform this thing, I think, you know, you've got some problems. But there is the video to back it up. But you know, there you have it.
The thing that sold me on this was the ab crunch, and my big question to you, because like this is, I love that. I love that you can get that kind of curve and everything with it. Was that just a happy coincidence, or was that something planned? Like, is that just part of transformation that happens to look pretty awesome?
The ab crunch is part of the transformation. Like, it's how it creates the nose, and it is a happy coincidence that it also makes an amazing ab crunch at the same time. Now, during the process, they were actually going to keep that joint fairly loose, and it was, as we went through it, it was like, no, it kind of needs to be tight, because when you put him in that pose, it gives him a really nice, aggressive, like, you know, I'm going to get you kind of pose. So made sure that it was good as a crunch.
Yeah. Well, this figure is available, the middle one, right now at TFcon. The ones on the outside are also available right now at TFcon. So this guy is pretty much out by the time you're seeing this video. So go check out some of the coverage, check out the video instructions, and see how you feel. We're going to feel our way all the way over here. Yo, we're going to talk about open and play, not open play, open and play, because that's what you do with your toys, and that's what you're going to do with this Springer, Big Spring, should you pick him up. This guy has debuted here at TFcon, kind of an advanced release. I picked one up, so I've had some hands-on time with this thing. He's a Springer, so he's got 3 modes: helicopter, car thing, and robot thing. He's got a sword and a gun, and he comes with the football, the missile from the '86 movie. So before I say anything about my own hands-on time with him, Ian, you had some hands-on time with this guy.
Literally like a couple seconds earlier, but
really good.
They were really good. It's a nice feeling toy. I just remember looking at the 15 different MP scaled Springers that were out, and this one was one of the ones that I really liked because of the size change on the cockpit. Because there's a wide cockpit for the car and then a narrow one for the helicopter. And from the brief time I've handled it, feels like a solid toy. I
like this guy. It's the whole concept behind the company is open it, play with it, enjoy it, and I like it. It's fun, it's chunky, it makes great articulated poses. The alt modes are also fun. You can play with them, no problem. Yeah, I dig it. I
actually did have some time to play with the articulation. I actually haven't transformed it. I watched Henry go through it, and I thought there are a couple clever points like the window. I just wasn't completely super impressed because I think I was a little bit Springered out from all these Springers that I'm seeing.
Aesthetically, I kind of dig it. Like from this point, I like the legs. I think it's just like seeing so many different robots. Everything kind of looks chunky with the legs. Everybody always had really thick legs, and this guy is very human. And honestly, it kind of reminds me of the old episodes where they showed like the old Cybertronians, and they all looked very, very basic. He's kind of got that mode, but yet it still looks pretty unique.
The thing I like most about this guy is I think the design. It's more of a Oxy design from what I can tell, and I think that's what makes it unique to me, as opposed to, again, the 15 other Springers that we have. And he is really highly articulated in robot mode, and I really appreciate that. I mean, honestly, how many people keep their figures in other modes? And this mode, I think, is pretty solid. The things that I would have liked some improvement on is probably the face. I think that's the most feedback I've gotten from the table when I've seen it, is the face. So hopefully they'll come out with some extra faces or something like that.
You know how I see it is if you look at a lot of the springers that are out there, they look old. This looks young. This is like before Springer became movie Springer.
Mm-hmm.
He's still thin. He's still energetic. He's still like
before he packed on the weight.
Yeah, exactly. Before he became the old seasoned warrior of
Still got laid.
you know.
Yeah.
He's still got some.
What I can tell you from my time with this thing is I managed to accidentally wedge his head somewhere, and it took a bit to get it out. And the face popped off when I got the head out. So if someone does make a new face, it's not that hard to swap it in.
Oh, great.
I took a picture, put it on Twitter of the terrifying faceless scream that is beneath his face, and I was quite happy with it. This guy, I got some problems and some pros with this guy, and like you said, the price is like what really argues against me a lot of the time, because there's bits and pieces on him where I got to add some floor polish, but then from the waist down, this dude is like just a big solid meathead. And as far as transformation engineering that makes me happy, I love just the hidden giant C-clip in the thigh. Like that just feels good. So he's not going to be like the masterpiece Springer, and I already know I don't connect with that crowd that well, but as far as just like a Springer that I want to pick up and
a fun
wave
toy.
around and
But yeah, that's the whole point of the company, though. It's not supposed to be that masterpiece Springer. It's supposed to be fun. You play with it.
Open and play.
Open
It hit
and
me-
play.
hit
You know,
me
they
a
should make the
few
box all
key
messed
places.
up too, so that you gotta open it and play with it.
Well, I'll open and play with you all the way over to our next segment,
Yeah.
which is right this way. We got us some J-Jang. This is,
Brother
I think,
of Wei Zhang.
whoa.
A strange brother.
I think this is their first release.
Yep, JJ01.
Yeah. This is in that new realm of this. I call it the next generation of your old upscaled in a frame box combiner knockoffs. This is an upscaled.
Wow, that's really complicated.
Yeah. Well, think of the acronym.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
This is an upscaled Classics Optimus from 06 with a number of improvements, which is that fashion right now, to upscale and then retool little bits and pieces here and there, and then throw in a big chunk of metal. And usually ratchet joints if there weren't already ratchet joints in the hips. You can take some of his arm flaps, put them on the backpack.
Thank you.
He's got some of this stuff with the fingers. He's got ankle tilts.
That's the important part.
This guy has a lot going on. So I've been an open rejecter of the Classics Prime. I think that mold has not aged well. People still love it, but this is what it needed. So the things that I hated about it are the arm kibble, which they solved. You can put it in a couple of different places. You can leave it on the arm if you like that. You can put it on the backpack. But the other improvements that they made, this guy is deceivingly heavy. I think most of his thigh, most of his crotch, his grill on the back, the bumper, I think parts of the lower leg are all die cast. They also added a lot of new features like rubber wheels, which is always a nice addition. They added non-slip rubber like heels or toes on the bottom of the feet to keep your hefty guy stable. And then the hands, I think, are probably my favorite piece. They're really nicely articulated, and some people don't like articulated hands like Spencer.
Articulated hands.
But these are really well done. They're really tight and secure. You don't have like the feeling of them popping out. And then lastly, they also have a newly sculpted face. So they've made a lot of improvements to a figure that I thought were mediocre. And Spence can attest, when I first saw it, I was like, why? But after having played with him for a while, I can see why. And the fans have spoken loudly. They're accepting of an updated Classics Prime.
I'll just a little info on the hands, which is rather interesting. If you build Gundams, then you'll understand the hands 100%. They use the same technology as like the master grade hands, where it uses different types of injection molding, like different types of plastic, to manufacture the hands all as a single piece. And
Wait, so you don't build these hands?
You don't build the hands. They come built, and you pull them out of the sprue, and then you break the seals to make them bend. So it's an amazing technology, and I'll tell you, for a company like this to be manufacturing hands like that is hella impressive.
Wow.
Yeah,
It is unbelievably impressive.
I was about to grump on those hands for having the ball socket knuckle setup that I find is often hit or miss, and that felt very tight. And it's making me also grumpy because my biggest problem with this dude is actually his price for me. When it comes to the upscaled enhancement KO, for me, the third part that's the cherry on top is when it's also like at a stunningly mid-range price for what you're getting. And this dude does enter into that, what is it, the MO1 Commander kind of tier, like the Wei Jing Evasion Prime tier, where I guess the number of improvements on him and those hands are kicking him up to that price point, which is what has kind of kept me spectating for the most part. But I'm spectating all of you guys. Anything else you guys want to throw in on this dude?
He's got a neat little couple of holes here. So when you throw on the gun, it actually pegs in
Like
into his forearm. So it's a nice
To make it
balance.
solid.
Yeah. So it's actually really well done. I thought that was kind of a cool feature.
Oh, and for those folks that like Spence who don't like articulated
I
hands,
love those hands.
you have an
They are
alternate set of
perfect.
hands, which are kind of like MP10 style. So you have like the pointer finger that has a couple of joints, and then the 3 other fingers that are molded together. So you have options, but again, I don't understand Spence because those hands are amazing, and I like them even no more after understanding the voodoo
tech.
magic that they put
Yeah,
into
that goes behind it.
manufacturing it.
Oh.
I'm playing with
just
the
edit
ratchet
that out.
joints. I'm playing with the ratchet joints because I want to know how this thing feels.
The rubber wheels and the ankle tilts would sell it to me, except for Classic Prime, I want it to be just the classic size.
You can buy the Classic Prime in the Classic Prime size.
But give me the ankle tilts. Like that's what I
Gotcha.
want.
And give me these hands. I want these hands, but
but it's fantastic. Like it feels really well made. It's just I'm not the market for it.
Yeah, for the first release from a new company, I'm really impressed.
Yeah.
It actually goes pretty well with MP10. Like if you put the two of them together, they look right. Like they look correct.
Like an evolution.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm still not sure if I'm down for this, but this is making me really eyeball those aerial bots that I saw sitting on that table.
And they did show a shattered glass version. So
Oh, yeah.
in the purple. In the purple.
People were asking how to buy that one.
Yeah, not available yet, but hopefully soon.
What is available soon, right now, in fact, is our next segment. Because it's down! Mastermind Creations have got some fresh, reformatted stuff, and the first 2 are a couple of retools. The Titanica and Dicomus mold has been redone into a kind of bulkhead style character. He's got a new head and I believe a new gun with a bipod on the end. The jaw on this guy is big and bulkheadian. It doesn't move, but it's got some brr to it. That's a qualitating statement.
I think this suited Bulkhead a little bit better than it suited Roadbuster. I agree with the Titanica. I feel like because it came out first, I can't unsee it. And I love the gun that it comes with. Otherwise, I mean, I've kind of had my time with this mold, and it's not a whole lot of heavy retooling.
I mean, yeah, this is almost like someone saw the Wrecking Ball hands and went like, oh, right.
I love the head sculpt, and I have more connection with Bulkhead from Prime than I do with like Roadbuster or Striker. But the one thing I'm missing is I always think of Bulkhead as being kind of a beefy, bigger dude, kind of like the Hound of the movie series. So this one's a little bit too heroic for me, but I think in terms of use of the mold, it's actually a really good remold, and people love Bulkhead. So any excuse to get a Bulkhead, I think people will jump at.
Well, the next one in line is a retool of my personal favorite Mastermind Creations release to date, that being Kultur, their version of Tarn. And this is that figure heavily retooled into a Thunderclash, which is one of my favorite Euro G1 characters, especially thanks to his appearance in More Than Meets the Eye, where he got turned into Ace Rimmer, for the lack of a better term. I am way into this, because this looks like it has everything I loved about Kultur, and it looks like it adds just enough to make it feel different, but without taking away that thing about Kultur that I love, which is the smooth transformation. So I'm just hype about this thing. And check out the thing that totally looks like it's just waiting for like a label to go on, like on the chest. It's like it's the outline is etched in right there.
There's something to be said for just barfing colors everywhere. That I love.
Well, you can tell
I
it's from
love
like
it.
Europe,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
the
absolutely.
80s.
I love
Gold-
it. It's
big-
so Euro 80s.
Big gold feet. How can you go wrong?
Yeah.
These are supposed to be like this.
If I could have big gold feet, let me tell you,
Yeah.
I'd be people would respect me. That's what would happen.
It's just so eye-catching, really. I love the colors.
The one thing I would say aesthetically that I wish they could have done is make his chest more pectorially large, because that's what I think
That's
was
true.
the Thunderclash.
Yeah.
But I think that's a limitation of the mold. But by and large, I think it's a great use of the mold.
There's also a fresh mold here. we can talk about. That being
Yeah.
Alpha. Now, hey, I'm not trying to say anything, but there is a prototype playtime up on YouTube.com/Vangelus Central if people want to hear my thoughts. So I won't throw in too many thoughts. Ian, I reviewed the figure that you took photos of.
Yeah, that one. It's I'm not gonna spend too long on it. I think it's awesome. The way the feet and the huge ball joint for an ankle that's tight. It gives you a huge amount of playability and articulation. I'm a huge fan of that mold just because you can do crazy sword poses with it. So.
Well, I think one of the things that they've done is they drastically re-engineered it. Like, I think they almost went back to the drawing board with both Alpha and Beta, and I think it was for the better. They just showed off Beta in the third-party panel, and although apparently they do share some of the same molding, you cannot be able to tell just by looking at the two figures.
There's a lot of stuff that we've seen from the reformatted line. I feel like this actually kind of takes a little bit of a different direction in a design sense as well. Something that you get a little bit new from the reformatted line. There's been a lot of things that I feel that they've reused or not learned from. This has been a little bit of a treat for me to see them go in a bit of a different direction.
All right. Well, Mastermind Creations is still bringing out some fresh stuff with the TFcon look. So why don't we look over to one more segment? I think it's that way. Ocular Max has got some Ocular cassettes, and they are birds, both of them. They kind of look like Laserbeak and Buzzsaw. And this is a line, if you don't know, if you haven't messed with their Jaguar, the whole gimmick of this line is that the cassettes are one-to-one to actual audio cassettes you might have listened to if you were a kid in the precise childhood era that I guess most of us fit into. You might actually not know what these are. But these come in like a little, foldy cassette case. And the size is kind of the big thing about this. It means that they are definitely large, but it also means they're somewhat packed with engineering. They have all-in-one weapons. These guys actually use like magnets to hold the wing flaps together so they don't come apart in bird mode, and it's really darn cool. There's a camera in the head. This is kind of a niche gimmick of a line, but the Jaguar figure connected with me a lot, so I'm looking forward to messing with one of these and coming to some thoughts on the final production version.
I like it a lot. I was saying earlier, the thing I liked about it is once I started putting it in my house and having it perch on things and spy on me, I guess.
Perch on your finger?
Yeah, it can perch on your finger. That's what I really like about it. It does some cool stuff. It's definitely not going to be for everyone. I can't fault anyone for not wanting it, but I think they're really cool toys.
I haven't actually handled these. I handled the resin thing.
There you go.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Until now, how does it compare to, let's say,
Jaguar?
no, I was actually going to say the Masterpiece transformation of the tapes. You know how it does everything in one.
Yeah.
As well, have they derived a lot from it?
No, it's drastically different in both the way it's executed, and I think it does have. I mean, it does feel more hefty, right? It has a lot of die cast as part of this line. I think the difference is that you get a little bit more room to do cooler engineering things when you have more space and more size. So I think they've taken advantage of that. They have some sliding joints to get it more compact and everything. And then they added some extra features and articulation that you don't get from the original MP cassettes.
I think there are a lot of people that see it and right away they like to compare it with the Masterpiece and think that it's just some oversized thing that hasn't had any thought put to it, but it actually has. So it's good to know, and I can't wait to play with it.
And they're following up with two more figures, right? The Furor and Tremble.
Furor and Tremor.
Furor and Tremble. So that's their Rumble and Frenzy, although I think it's backwards name just because.
I agree.
That wraps up this round table, so thank you for joining us all. I was Chris of Vangelus.ca, Vangelus Reviews. This is Ian Reed of HardReturn.net. This is Spencer of MAAS Toys. This is Boris of A3U Review. Alex is out there somewhere, I know it. This is Eric of Haus Toys, and that is Henry Paik of Paik4Life Reviews.
Oh, hey, Alex.
Alex?
Hello there.
Whoa! Let's get out of here.